Hello everyone, and welcome to the Iceberg Lounge. I'm your host, Thomas R.J. Engel, and today is a special episode. I have my first guest. He is the youth pastor for First United Methodist Church in Jasper, Alabama. He is also the co-host of Table Talks on YouTube, on his YouTube channel. And we're going to be talking about some music, a song. But before that, if you want to invest into this, go to patreon.com/TRJI and invest any amount you would like. It could be just a one-time donation, or it can be a monthly donation. For $1 or more a month, you get all of my content 24 hours before anyone else does. And also don't forget to go and check out my social media. But besides that, let's get into the show. I'm here with my special guest, Stuart Branstetter.
What's up?
And today we're going to be reviewing Lecrae and Andy MIneo's first song they came out with for their special tour called Didn't I? And this song has tons of stuff that goes in it. So we're going to try to break it down, not necessarily line by line, but most of it is. So we start off with the first verse right here, where it's talking about how he settled down with his current wife that he has right now when he had options. It seems like he chose the family path over just dating and just the normal life you would have as a rapper. A lot of people probably... Andy and Lecrae are the two Christian rappers that are always criticized and looked...
Why do you think they're criticized?
Lecrae obviously is the number one Christian rapper out there. Mm-hmm. So he's always going to be criticized. Andy, I would say, is the second best on the label. He is more outspoken than the most. He doesn't necessarily say anything bad at all. Yeah. It's just he's at this transition from where he was before the Uncomfortable album, mm-hmm. to where he was making music for the community and trying to fit into this bubble of Christian rapper. And then from Uncomfortable on, he's made music that he's been wanting to make the whole time. And when it comes to the whole marriage thing, he's like, look, I'm not out here sleeping with all these women. I'm not out here dating around. I settled down. Mm-hmm. I even settled down with one of your faithful, talking about settling down with a Christian woman. And he had apparently many people he could go with because he had a plate full of women, apparently.
Yeah. I mean, when you read the lyrics, the second line, when I had options, your boy had a plate full. Just that whole idea. And, I think Andy and Lecrae are criticized so much more because they have more top charters than any other Christian rapper. Yeah. Because you look at them when the 116 Click first got started, mm-hmm. It was Lecrae, your headliner, Tedashii, Trip Lee, in that order. And being 16 whenever that movement first started, I remember going to a 116 concert, and I was so excited to see Lecrae, and it's like Lecrae brought his boys with him to be like, all right, guys, now is your chance to shine.
Oh, yeah.
And so I think they're criticized so much more because they have banging hits.
Yeah, they do.
Compared to every other Christian rapper that's out there, KB's great. KB's hard to go to a concert to.
Yeah.
Tedashii's great.
Yeah.
He's hard to go to a concert to. Trip Lee's taking the ministry road, and then the other ones are just falling in the cracks. They're filler rappers.
Yeah,
to say it. They're not. When you look at an event like Winter Jam, they're not headliners. They're opening acts.
Yeah, they're the pre-show.
So.
Yeah, and another kind of thing is if we go down to these next verses, it's talking about didn't I go on TV and we're grateful instead of that Gucci, Ray's got to get paid too. It's talking about how Grateful Apparel, first of all, is a New York clothing business created by Raymond Rivera, and Andy MIneo has been a proud supporter of it pretty much the whole time, at least since Andy's Neverland project, because they did a special thing for it. And a big thing is Gucci, the popular Italian luxury brand, was voted the most popular brand in hip-hop. You see every hip-hop artist wearing something Gucci. And Andy right here is saying, look, I'm not going to be the typical rapper. I'm not the typical rapper. I'm sitting here supporting this person who they actually did a testimonial video together on the actual Reach Records YouTube channel, which I'm going to link in the description so you can watch that. But it's another one of those things to where he did a testimonial video about Ray, so obviously Ray is a Christian. He's supporting this Christian clothing label, and it's still backfiring on him. He even, it's to the point to where he is resisting the label of Christian rapper. And you see a lot of these other artists do this. Over this past couple of years, we've seen a bunch of people kind of leave the CHH genre. John Gibbs is one. He was a member of Dream Junkies. He kind of left and did his own thing. Recently, Alex Faith left, and his new album is very different. Pretty much showed that he's out of the CHH. And it's one of those things where you're thinking, it isn't really the label, it's the people, the fans of them that are pushing them away.
Yeah. I mean, because fans are ruthless.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, they want Lecrae and Andy MIneo to make music. They get upset when they don't make it a specific way, but they get criticized from everybody. If you talk about Jesus too much, you're not going to be able to reach the people that they feel called to reach. If you don't talk about them enough, you got the Christians over here that are mad because, man, you created a song, you didn't even put Jesus in it.
Exactly.
And, it's this whole idea, as a Christian hip-hop listener, and as just a person that listens to hip-hop music anyways, for Christian rappers to come out and make a song like this, calling people out, going back to what hip-hop was built around, the battle rapping, and Andy would go on record and say, that's how I started. I was battle rapping people from an early age, and this is kind of where it got me where I am. For them to call out their criticizers, for the people that are hiding behind the internet, criticizing them on every little thing that they're doing, man, kudos to them.
Yeah, and it's even right here, the verse is talking about is like, did not talk about my faith in God when it was unpopular. Everyone was hating. Everybody was hating. Chance went and did it, and now it's innovative. and y'all trying to tell me I'm changing. Like in a 2007 interview with the Chicago Tribune, Andy talked about the Christian rapper label. Quote, "Even Christians don't like me, mostly the fundamentalists, but they don't like anybody. That's another reason why I had to push that title Christian rapper from myself.
Yeah.
I don't think it paints a clear picture of who I am and what I'm about because it's tainted for people." And when he when he talked about Chance the Rapper, he's talking about his mixtape, The Coloring Book, which had All We Got, Blessings, and How Great. And they're showing that this Chance, along with Kendrick and Lamar, is this new wave of the gospel, is what they're calling it. What do you think about this new wave of the gospel?
I mean, personally, it's almost like when going way back when the band The Fray first came out.
Yeah.
They don't really talk about anything bad. They don't really mention God, but people want to put them into a label of a Christian artist. It's like the Twilight books.
Oh, yeah.
Simply because it has a Bible verse in the very beginning of it doesn't mean it's a Christian book.
Yeah.
And so when you have to look at the lifestyle patterns of these people, not necessarily the music that they're creating, but what type of lifestyle are they living? For instance, one of hip-hop's biggest critics, personalities, culture personalities of this time, Charlemagne the God.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
If you're into any form of hip-hop culture, Charlemagne the God's one of the people that you talk. The Breakfast Club is somebody you talk about. And for those of you that don't know the Breakfast Club and you say you enjoy hip-hop music, you need to get on the Breakfast Club and Sway in the morning.
Yeah, Sway.
Holla at your boy if you really want to talk about some hip-hop culture.
Yeah, definitely but Sway.
Charlemagne the God. He did an interview with famous pastor Stephen Furtick. And when they started talking about their faith, Charlemagne wouldn't talk about God. He would talk about being morally honest. Now, for a full-on Christ-following, loving Christian, they're not going to talk about being morally honest. They're going to talk about, this is my relationship with God, and this is kind of where it's got to me. We confuse this idea of simply because you're a morally honest person, it doesn't mean that you're fully following Jesus. That's where we have to draw the line somewhere. Is that okay? Because what if I'm morally honest, but I never come out and I never profess that I'm following Jesus? What does that say about me? Well, I'm just a morally good person. Doesn't mean that I'm a Christ follower. Do those people believe in a higher power? Absolutely. They'll tell you they believe in a higher power. But Jesus also warns us about those people. About how there's going to be some, they're going to come, they're going to claim to do this, claim to do that. But you'll know my teachings by the fruit that I bear. Even going back to little things like we talked about before we even got started, Chance is getting a lot of heat right now because of a line in a new song. About talking about, she enjoys when talking about my faith with God. I was like, yo, just dance for me, girl. And it's hard because he's trying to make music and he really wants to kind of keep his faith at a center point for his personal life, but he doesn't want it to affect his music.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Yeah, it's almost like he's trying to kind of compromise his two lives and try to fit that in to where he's enough Christian to bring in the Christians.
Yeah.
But still enough worldly to keep getting on these other tracks with DJ Khaled and all that.
And here's my thing. I have no problem with people who have a gifting and that they are using it to reach a certain audience.
Yeah.
I start to turn my face up at people when they start saying, Chance the Rapper is a Christian rapper. Chance the Rapper himself is not going to come out and say, I'm a Christian rapper. He's saying, I am a hip-hop artist. I think the language has to start changing.
Yeah.
For us as consumers. Not to be legalistic in naming, but to be like, Lecrae, he's a Christian artist, but makes hip-hop music.
Yeah. He's a rapper that's Christian, happens to be Christian.
Yeah, he's a rapper that happens to be Christian rather than a Christian rapper, which I think they would go on record and say that that's what they would much rather have.
Yeah.
Because, it's like for me, because I'm a pastor, the moment I tell somebody I am a pastor, they cut me off to a certain extent in their life. Because they know that, oh, you're a pastor. If I tell you this, you're going to think of me this way and all this different stuff.
It limits the reach.
Yeah, it limits the reach. And so what Lecrae and Andy MIneo are doing is they're trying to broaden their reach more to where they're trying to reach more people effectively and not focus on the people that are already saved, which is something that's hard for those of us that are following Jesus that don't get it to try to comprehend.
Yeah, and it's I want to say it's almost a confidence issue because we don't want to lose certain people.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. We're still losing these certain people because we don't want to lose these certain people. Mm-hmm. Alex Faith, he's gone. John Gibbs, gone. And we're losing these great artists because we're trying to push them. Not saying we're trying to force our beliefs on them, but it's almost like we are trying to control them and make sure that they make us happy before they do anything else.
Why can't we coexist?
Exactly.
Why? And, I think about multiple people in the music industry that tried to go the Christian route and they got turned down. Jessica Simpson, Katy Perry, got turned down because the label told her your boobs are too big and you're too pretty. Sorry. And then look what happened. She went back and her very first single was I Kissed a Girl and I Liked It.
Yep.
So it's one of those things to where if we're not careful as a Christian community, and I get you have to be protective and you have to watch who you I don't want to say watch who you let in, but you have to be cautious because we are held responsible for the stuff that we put out there. But sometimes I feel like we shut people down without even giving them a chance because
definitely.
The way they look, because the way they sound. I personally love everything about Andy MIneo and Lecrae, and like even the last guy on the song, Wordsplayed. Yeah, Wordsplayed is starting to rise to one of my favorite Christian rappers. On his Instagram, he shows that he's drinking, he smokes cigars, and what it does is that he's not out there pushing his faith. He's existing in a world that is so out there to us that we have no idea how to even exist in it. Yeah. And he's saying, I'm going to show you guys how it's done. And this is how it's done. You be real with people. You talk about life. And you go in.
Yeah. The final two lines that kind of lead up to the chorus. To throw a touchdown, you gotta throw a few interceptions, and nobody's perfect, but you're the exception. Talk to me about this and kind of the thoughts behind this.
So, my thoughts are this. I completely agree. To throw a touchdown, you do have to make a few interceptions. This idea that no matter what you do, you're never going to succeed the very first time. Yeah. And so what I think it's Andy and Lecrae both going on record and saying, Did I drop the ball a few times? Yeah. But you guys are focusing on my interception rate rather than my success rate.
Exactly.
And then my favorite line, and Andy does this in another song, the song with him in Wordsplayed, Judo, talks about, oh, you're holier than thou, hey, tell Jesus on me. Ooh,
yeah.
I love it because it comes back to that competitive battle rapping in them to where nobody's perfect. Oh, but you're the exception?
Yeah.
And it's to how... they're just calling out all the Christian haters. Basically, they're being Jesus and calling out the Pharisees and saying, you guys are sitting here just ridiculing every little bit about my life because I'm in the limelight now.
Exactly.
Because I'm successful, because my music is starting to get off, because I have non-Christian rappers wanting me to drop a 16 bars for them.
Oh yeah.
Wanting me to do all this stuff, and so you guys are getting mad. And I went online and I said a cuss word. Oh, I spazzed out on Twitter. Oh, I did this. Oh, I did that. And you guys are just blowing me up, saying that I should be going to this. You should telling kids not to listen to my music. All this other different stuff, and it's so perfect for a time as such as this, with the huge communication shift that we're going through as a world, not just a Christian culture. The biggest communication shift in 500 years that we've ever seen, and music is being live streamed. People aren't going out and buying albums anymore. They have Spotify Premium, they have Apple Play, they have all this different stuff to where they're getting everything. And so for them to put this song out here, to call people out, not even put it on Spotify or Apple. It's on something to where anybody can listen to, and you have to kind of go and search for it to find it. And they knew, putting it out there, that the ones that were going to criticize them the most were going to find it first.
Because they listen to every single song that they do.
Every single song, they read every single tweet. My thing is that, do you guys have anything better to do with your life?
Yeah.
You're sitting here and you're trying to make money off of other people's failures. And I think that's the biggest thing that they're trying to hit on, is that because you guys, through so many interceptions, you're trying to point out all my problems so that way you can be seen as this perfect little image.
Yeah, and the chorus kind of really goes deeper into it, because it's like, didn't I give you everything? I tried my best just to be a man. Some people are against them when they're giving their everything to them. They're trying their best to be a godly man, but it's still not good enough for them. And they use this sample from this song, from this track in 2005. And then Lecrae in here, I didn't want to do this. He didn't want to do this, but Wordsplayed, who was in the studio, who we'll talk about later, told him he had to set some points straight, to kind of call people out on things, and to kind of set the record straight on a bunch of stuff, even though they really didn't have to.
And I'll say this, the fact that Lecrae feels the need to address and say that I didn't want to do this, but Wordsplayed came in the studio and told me I had to, shows the amount of respect that both Lecrae and Andy have for Wordsplayed.
Yeah.
Just to be like, hey, if John's going to come and tell me to do it, I got to do it.
Yeah, and it kind of shows that relationship, how all of them are, fighting through this together. And now we hit Lecrae's verse, jumping down a few lines, talking about, didn't I scream 116, unashamed of my faith, taking worldwide trips. This is talking about, if you don't know, 116 is the motto of Lecrae and the 116 Clique, which is basically everyone in Reach Records, and it's based on Romans 1:16, which states, "For I'm unashamed of the gospel of Christ, for it is the power of God unto salvation to everyone that believe, to the Jew first and also to the Greek. One of the big things that Lecrae has been accused of is selling his soul and falling away from the faith. And through this verse, he's like, look, I'm ashamed of my faith, and I'm going across the world to share this message. Mm-hmm. And it's funny to see this, and it kind of, later on in the song, we're going to be talking about a interview that he did with Rapzilla, kind of talking more in depth on this, but it's the whole thing, like, look, I've been repping this whole time. Like, the whole label's motto is based on a Bible verse.
Yeah. It's comical. Like, the fact that somebody would look at Lecrae and be, oh, I see you taking a picture here with T-Pain. Nah, you sold out.
Yeah.
No, if you go back and you do your history of Lecrae, he has evolved as hip-hop music has evolved.
Exactly.
Going from back when they first came out, he talked about how he's from the Houston area.
Yeah.
Slow movement. He did that first song with Paul Wall where people were just like,
oh yeah,
oh, what is this? And then he did a song with E40 and people were like, oh, what's
this?
Round of applause with B.O.B. And then he does a song with Waka Flocka and Zaytoven. Everyone's like, oh my gosh, why is he doing that? Rather than like, you know what? I don't know anybody else that has the opportunity to speak into these people's lives.
The influence.
Lecrae does. The fact that Bum B, one of Houston's biggest rappers, would call him and leave a personal message for him about, yo, just keep doing what you're doing. Don't worry about what anyone else is saying. That's big. And so the fact that people would just say, you know, you sold out, and he's like, remind them, yo, didn't I go around the world?
Yeah.
Worldwide trips.
Yes.
In the very beginning of that, he talks about, I didn't take a dime.
Yeah.
I didn't ask for anything like that. I made beats for everybody.
Ghost wrote.
I wrote some of your rhymes for you just to help to get this movement started. And now everyone's like, oh, you're a sellout.
Yeah. And when he won a Grammy back in 2012 for the album Gravity for the best gospel album, you know, that kind of solidified him as kind of the torchbearer of the community. And just like any other leader, you're gonna be criticized the most, no matter what you do. Mm-hmm. And one of the big criticisms for him supposedly selling his soul was what I call the sideways incident back in when he did a song with KB, who honestly is one of, if you could say anyone who's a Christian rapper, it's KB. Mm-hmm. I mean, his music is bumping. It's good. Anyway, so in the music video, Lecrae did a triangle above his head, and automatically people went crazy. Illuminati confirmed. And in this interview with Rapzilla, which it will be linked in the description below also, he talked about, I was doing that to represent a steeple. Like, he's like, honestly, I thought we were going to be called out because at one point we were upside down during the music video. And so all these people are, you know, constantly watching everything he does in music videos, lyrics, tweets. They're constantly looking at them, and that just shows, because honestly, if you hate someone, more than likely you're gonna be watching everything they do. Mm-hmm. I don't like his music, then why do you listen to it?
Yeah.
I don't like what he tweets. You follow him. You watch every word he says. And then they also call him a fraud because he calls it out. He's like, he left it all on the line because he said, didn't I win the Grammys and talk about my God? Left it all on the line while they call me a fraud. Mm-hmm. They call him a fraud, wolf in sheep's clothing. And he's like, look, I publicly talked about God at the Grammys, and you're still saying I'm like this. And now we're going to hit kind of the big topic of this song, talking about Shaolin. Shaolin, who used to be a part of the 116 clique back in the early days.
I'll go ahead and say he wasn't good. As a listener through it all, I got all their first albums, and his was one that I was like, nah.
Yeah, and like he was at the beginning, and so Lecrae said, "Didn't I stay quiet? Didn't I play shy? Well, he bashed me in public. You think I played shy?" And this is Lecrae's first time publicly responding to the shots that Shaolin took on Random Thoughts 3 track he had in 2007, which targeted Lecrae for a 2004 track called Crossover, and then targeted basically the whole label of Reach Records for switching their message or talking about Jesus. So basically, this is from Random Thoughts 3. Christian hip hop found a different algorithm and crossed over without taking the crossover. That was the shot to the 2004 Lecrae song. Made us all sober. Years later, is it all over? Trip asked me, talking about Trip Lee, if I was still motivated. I was quiet, but I wanted to say no, I hate it. Because brothers in your camp are causing a lot of confusion. I love them as brothers in Christ, but not their conclusion. They want to reach the world, by all means keep pursuing it. But tell me why they gotta diss the church while they're doing it. Now, I kind of broke down this to basically he felt that when they did cross over and started getting mainstream appeal, they left the cross behind. He also feels people in Reach Record are causing a lot of confusion about their beliefs. And he also shows that he wants them to reach the world, but he feels like the way they're doing it, they're dissing the church. And this line struck the community by storm. So much so that some websites, Christian hip hop websites, wouldn't talk about it.
I love it. I love how the moment there's some sort of conflict between people, nobody wants to talk about it.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest problem with the Christian community, is that we are so afraid to offend our own, because you always get told, stop bashing the church, stop bashing this, bashing that. And people will say, well, when you bash a believer, you bash the church. Mm-hmm. No, it's this thing called accountability, to where none of us really want, because if we're all held to a certain accountability in our lives, it means you're gonna have people calling you out. Mm-hmm. It means you're gonna have people saying, well, you're calling me out for this. Didn't I do all this other different stuff? And then while I did that, you're over here doing this.
And that's pretty much what the song is trying to talk about. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And my one of my favorite lines, where Lecrae says, "See your friends at the party, and I blow your spot." Mm-hmm. When they asked about you, I tell them you're doing all right. It's like that. Yeah. It's like, hey, how's so and so? They're doing all right. He had every opportunity to bash him when he was being ridiculed publicly by him. Yeah. Like, yo, how's Shy doing? He's like, he's doing all right.
Didn't I stay quiet? Didn't I play shy? Hmm? He didn't say nothing, and now he is. And so there's an article with Rapzilla, which I'm gonna try to find and link in the description, where Shaolin explained his relationship with Lecrae and how he doesn't view Lecrae as an enemy, which is interesting because you bashed him in public. But anyway, Lecrae and I are not enemies. This is a quote. Rather, we both have a common enemy who desires to sift us, and the Christians who agree or disagree with us like wheat. It says right here that's referencing Luke 22:31. And in this discussion, we are not wrestling against flesh and blood. One way the devil seeks to devour us is for believers who fall on one side of a disagreement or the other to bite and devour one another. Galatians 5:15, it says he's referencing. We shouldn't be unaware of Satan's schemes. So this right here, but to me, I feel like he should have went privately first and talked to Lecrae instead of doing it in a song that he knew was going to blow up in the community. Because honestly, Lecrae is the number one Christian rapper. And Shaolin, who we know has, past partnerships with him, obviously being in the 116 clique in the past, it's kind of surprising that he did that because you've been with Lecrae. Like, you know him.
It's almost like Dwayne Wade.
Yeah.
Coming out after their time with LeBron James and just bashing LeBron for everything. No, they're still boys. And I think that's the biggest problem that I'm starting to see over and over again is that they can't take it as this is my calling and this is also my job. So if Lecrae and Andy don't make music, what are they going to do?
Exactly.
And so they have to go out there and they have to do all these different things. And when you sign to a record label, you have to do this many, you have to drop this album at this time. You have to sell this many albums so that way it's a deal. And you make a deal with it. And you know that going into it. And so for them to get mad because they're doing all this great stuff, and again, I feel like I'm just repeating myself over.
Yeah,
but it's the same argument.
Yeah.
Regardless, stop sitting there and hating on everything that they're doing. Enjoy the process. Be thankful that it's happening during our time too.
Yeah, and see, kind of another big thing is a lot of people were mad when Lecrae signed to the bigger label. I forgot who he signed to exactly, but he did that so that way he can use reach for the other artist instead of himself to build the other artist up in his record label instead of focusing all the money and time on his own stuff. So now he has this record label that focuses on him and he can focus on the other stuff and try to spread all this. Down a little bit, one of the final things before we get into probably your favorite part of the track,
my man,
is him finally admitting that he had Instagram models slide into his DMs on Instagram and him avoiding the temptation, saying, "Did not go home to my wife and kids when the IG models in my DM slid."
Yo, shout out to Lecrae. I mean, for one, I don't know how many of you guys, we have no idea what these IG models look like, and we're never going to know.
No.
But if you're on any form of social media, especially Instagram, and you see these Instagram models, Lecrae's a big guy.
Oh, yeah.
And he's an athletic guy. He talks about how, I gotta keep my work going, stay dedicated, and all this different stuff. He has been faithful to his wife from the very beginning, a lot like Andy. And they constantly talk about their wife when, and again, he's like, yo, I had opportunities. I had opportunities that you guys don't even know about.
And this is kind of re-referencing what Andy said. I had a lot on my plate.
And just like in one of Andy's new songs, I got light skinned shawty look like Pocahontas.
Exactly.
And their other song that they just did, he talks about stop asking when me and my wife are gonna have kids. Right now we're just practicing.
Yeah.
And so they're doing it in such a way to where you can respect it, but at the same time you understand they're showing you a little bit of what they're actually dealing with.
Yeah, exactly.
Which goes back to being real and say, hey, I have to be a real person. These are some of my struggles that I'm going through. And if you look at every single one of their albums, Lecrae always comes out with a song that talks about his personal struggles. Andy always comes out with a song that talks about his personal struggles. Especially Andy's new project that he has going on right now. It talks about all of his struggles.
Yes.
And he puts it all out there.
I love every single song on the Arrow.
But, shout out to Lecrae. I mean...
Yeah.
You get IG models coming after you, you're doing something right.
Honestly, the whole 2018 for Reach Records in general, even for Minor League, which is Andy's kind of collective, they're putting out fire left and right. Definitely with this kind of like unofficial Reach Records kind of album, Summer 18. Just the fire that comes off of it. And they ended the same way Andy does, to throw a touchdown, you gotta throw a few interceptions, and nobody's perfect, but you're the exception. And then they go back to the chorus. And now we get to your favorite part of the song, the outro featuring Wordsplayed.
God, I could just sit there and just listen to him talk.
Yes, Wordsplayed is so awesome.
And he talks about it. In a song with Andy, talks about how he's so New York.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about him. He talks about having a chopped cheese sandwich.
Yeah.
Those of you that don't know what a chopped cheese sandwich is, go on YouTube, search a chopped cheese, and it's going to show you it is a nasty, disgusting sandwich that you find at a bodega, which is basically a corner store. And he's like, yeah, $7.50 for a chopped cheese. I used to pay less for that.
Yeah.
And I used to get them when they were like $3.
Yeah.
And there's the cat sitting on the grill. And so, he talks about, that's right, boys and girls. You're all Kool-Aid men. You saw the track and said, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He's calling out everybody that's like, yo, they just put out that new track. I'm about to listen to it. I'm about to analyze everything. And then my favorite thing that he says, you've all won the lottery. Congratulations. If everybody got $1, who's rich?
Mm-hmm.
And he addresses it and said, I got bills.
Mm-hmm.
I got no money.
Mo problems.
When you don't have money and you can't pay for things, you got problems. So stop crucifying Andy and Lecrae and even probably himself for them out here making music. So what? Wordsplayed created that little album that had Kanye Cares on it.
Yeah.
He did it so that way, one, keep his record deal. Mm-hmm. Two, he just got back off tour with Andy, and Andy just put out another album. Mm-hmm. And John's just like, I'm not trying to do. Wordsplayed reminds me a lot of an artist, Vincent Staples. Vincent Staples is a West Coast artist that when he first came on the scene, he was bangers left and right. I mean, people were just all for him. Then he goes to prison, and he comes out, and he's still signed, and he does this record called Big Fish, which is the old school West Coast kind of EDM hip hop music kind of combined, and he does it his own way.
Yeah.
And so when I look at Wordsplayed, I think of a New York rapper that is doing Christian hip hop music his own way.
Yeah.
Rather than coming out every song is like, yo, Jesus this, Jesus that. He's doing it because he's talented and he's good at it. Mm-hmm. He created a song called Kanye Cares.
Exactly.
And he talked. Everybody got $1, who's rich? And he's like, and they try. You can tell they try to cut him off. He's like, nah, keep me going.
Yeah, he ain't done.
I got a lot of steam in here. I want to let off. You got a wrinkled shirt? Put it by me. I got a lot of steam. Sell out. And I love it. He says, you guys throw that word around like a beach ball at a music festival.
Yeah.
So I told you when you all look at us like where the guys on the bicycles doing the hand signal nobody cares about. I'm wildin'. And it's true. Like, he goes on record and always says, I'm wildin'. I'm out here doing crazy stuff. Stop focusing on me. Maybe if you spent more time on your own personal struggles and your own stuff that you're going through and your music, you may be good.
Yeah, and my conclusion on this track is they didn't have to do it, but I felt like they needed to, because if not, it was just going to bottle up more. And I feel like sometimes fans do need to get called out.
Yes. Completely agree.
Because we start to act like we know them more than we actually do. And this might mean we think that they sold out or anything like that, when it's completely opposite. And as a community, as CHH, we need to start loving everyone as we love ourselves, and truly really support the people we have, because if not, we're going to end up pushing them away.
And it's tough because, you know, so many of us want to be the finger pointer. We want to be the one to find the problem, point it out first. That way we get the credit for pointing out the problem, rather than they're putting it all out there and they call people out. They had to. Now I'm so thankful that they did. I just wish it was on Spotify so I can put it on my playlist. I don't have to go to SoundCloud every time to listen to it. But
Lecrae, Andy, Word, if y'all are listening to this,
put it on Spotify Premium, man. I'm trying to put that on my playlist. But you know, it's one of those things to where you as a consumer, you take it as either one or two ways. You either get really offended that they're calling you out, or you take a good hard look in the mirror and be like, man, did I really start to travel down this path to where I cared so much about what they're doing that I completely forgot about who I am?
And honestly, as a fan, I have questioned about Lecrae in the past. I will admit it, and it's, you know, it's one of those things to where as a fan, you know, it's, hey, my bad. You know, I'm sorry for that. And it's just now just enjoying these bangers that they're putting out.
See, as a fan, I can go on record and say I've never questioned. I've always known. Listen, you can't come out with a song called "Take Me As I Am" on your very first record and me question it.
Yeah.
And when you watch the process of it, whenever Lecrae comes out with an album, I'm always anxious to get it because I know there's going to be something that I'm going to connect with.
Yeah.
For all these other guys, I don't know.
Yeah. And
it's just, you know, people tell me, "Oh, shoot, you check out the new Derek Minor album?" No. The new Andy album? Oh yeah, I've been on that. Did you check out Tripp's album? I'm like, Tripp came out with an album?
Yeah, like I'll listen to it.
Or even like Tedashi's new stuff. I'm like, they're just not for me.
Yeah.
And I know it sounds like, oh, I'm just hitting the mainstream guys. Nah, Stephen Malcolm puts bangers out there.
Oh, yeah.
Beacon Light has a song, Loud Drive Home, that I listen to all the time. And, you know, you have all these other different people out there that are just trying to take God's gift that they've been given, use it to glorify Him in their own unique way. And instead of us as a body of believers being open to new ideas, we shut it off and we say, you know what, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to listen to you guys.
Yeah.
I'm going to do this instead. I'm going to do that instead. And so, you know, shout out to Lecrae and Andy putting in work. I wish you guys would bring your tour to Birmingham so I can go to it.
Yeah.
You're in Memphis. It's the closest one to us. I may go to it. It's hard. Got church that Wednesday night.
Yeah.
And so, and it starts at 7. It's like a 3-hour drive. But, you know, at the end of the day, it's music.
Yeah, it's...
At the end of the day, it's music.
It's music, yeah.
And it's not doctrine.
Mm-mm.
They're not out here... And that's the thing. It'd be one thing if Lecrae and Andy... in a song said that there's another way to heaven besides Jesus.
Exactly.
They've never said
never.
That. So the fact that we're criticizing over like little tiny things. For all these people that want to criticize them, when Wordsplayed first came on the scene with Martinelli.
I love that song.
You cannot tell me like, you know what? I'm about to go jam some Martinelli right now.
Like, that song literally made me go out on my 21st birthday, and instead of getting alcohol, I got a thing of Martinelli.
I still drink Martinelli to this day.
Like,
I drink the apple juice. Their apple juice by itself, the best apple juice I've ever had. Thank you, Wordsplayed, for turning me on to Martinelli.
Yeah, Martinelli, yes.
That's all I'm saying. Shout out to Martinelli. Let Martinelli jump on.
Hey, if you want to sponsor me, Martinelli, go ahead. I'll take it.
And so,
but yeah, this has been a very deep review.
It's been a long review.
You wouldn't think that would be possible for a song like this, but there's a lot of stuff in it to break out.
Yeah, we took a under 4-minute song and turned it into an hour.
Yeah.
Or so. 3 minutes and 14 seconds.
Yeah. So, but yeah, this has been the song review, and this has been the Iceberg Lounge. Stuart, do you have any last words? Any social media stuff, events, anything like that?
Yeah. Follow me on YouTube, Stuart Branstetter. I do this podcast to video podcast with another youth pastor, Philip Walker, called Table Talk, to where we sit down, two pastors from two completely different point of views, and we answer hard questions. And so it's the series that we got going on. You can follow me at StuBro2 on Instagram and Twitter. My Twitter is kind of just there because it's there.
Yeah.
Instagram's where it's at. But yeah, man, it's been fun. I've enjoyed it. I always love talking to people. Love talking about hip hop culture, and anytime I can talk about faith and, you know, how we can help better our own beliefs as believers, I think it's good. So.
All right. Well, thank you again, Stu, for being my first guest.
You're welcome.
What a great episode with Stuart Branstetter. That's been the Iceberg Lounge. I just want to say thank you to Stu for coming and being my first guest on the Iceberg Lounge. And don't forget to follow all of his social media. Go check out Table Talks on his YouTube channel. Go check out the links in the description to the stuff that we talked about in this podcast. And don't forget that if you want to invest, go to patreon.com/TRJI and check that out. But just want to say I love you all, and all to God.